Hello again, everybody. We are back. This is AltJake and George with AltJake Takes On. We are here for another classic match review for you guys. How you doing today, George?
Doing good as I always am.
Nice. Hey, man, I'm excited for this one. We're taking it. Is this the furthest back we've taken it so far?
So far, yes.
Nice. I thought so. Is there anything we want to cover before we just jump right into this?
No.
All right, let's rock and or roll.
Classic match of the week.
Bingo.
All right. So this classic match this week is from May 4th, 1981. Pat Patterson versus Sargent Slaughter in the alley fight at Madison Square Garden. I guess it's still just what we would think of as a street fight, but we'll kind of talk about the buildup and the whole match, get into it. But this is a pick of George's. So I'm gonna let you kind of.
Do we know where the alley fight the name came from? Because they don't mention that at all.
You know, I don't. And I was trying.
Vince McMahon calls it no holds barred, anything goes. Never once mentions alley fight in the least bit.
Right, and then it's got no referee. That's the other thing that comes out of nowhere out of it. So, and I mean, they're in street clothes, and that's what think of the street fights. It's also that thing they didn't do it that much, and
here's your thing.
When you talk about those,
you're talking 1981 WWF, which is extremely boring. Extremely boring. They would do 2, possibly 3 angles a year. A year. So this was one of those.
Right. And Patterson's an announcer at this point. This is like after he came in, because he came in, was the first ever Intercontinental Champion. I think that's 1976, 77, somewhere around there. This is 1981. He had been moved, which still I never really got of why he was commentary with the accent and the crowd that go banana.
It was exciting, I guess.
I mean, he was good. He has great insight, and he's literally one of the best minds in the history of professional wrestling, just period. But it's just it was an odd way of doing that storyline with it, but it worked. And a lot of it, as we'll talking about it with it, there was a lot of stuff here that seems almost like mundane or a trope to us now, but it was fresh and brand new, especially to that audience there. Like you said, that was pretty much as boring as it was going to be. There's still the Vince Sr. influence back then. And when that happens, you have a lot of the old school mentality. I mean, Vince Sr. he was the one who chose Bob Backlund to be his champion over superstar Billy Graham. I don't know what else to say about his booking style.
It was rough. I was 15 and my parents got cable in January of the 81.
Okay.
So MSG happened. Yeah. The only way you can see this at the time is MSG network. So we happened to get it on our cable system. So we had MSG for a year, then we lost it to PIX. But I had it for a year. So this actually popped up. Now, the preliminary stuff, the build up to the match was going on, and it kind of caught my eye because, like I said, there was stuff that's just it was terrible. I watched Saturday night stuff on TBS, wherever I could find anything but WWF. It was so bad.
Well, I don't want to harp on Vince Sr., but just remember, he also was the one who didn't want Hogan in a movie. He didn't like that because he was
stuck in his
didn't want to show.
They were making money hand over fist in that territory over there, and
that's the other thing.
They didn't want to branch out.
And I mean, it's one of those things of where they say, you don't grow if you don't go out of your comfort zone. And when you're making money hand over fist, it's really hard to leave your comfort zone. It makes sense. But it makes sense. But the preliminary, it starts. I mean, I don't know exactly how long Sargent Slaughter had been doing the Cobra Clutch Challenge, but the preliminary to start for this specific feud was on April the 6th at a Madison Square Garden show. Also, I'm assuming on the MSG network, where Sargent Slaughter was doing the Cobra Clutch Challenge to the Black Demon, who looks like a very stout man there sitting there in the chair. And if anyone doesn't know, Sarge would, stand over them in the chair and put them in the Cobra Clutch. And if they could break it, they would get, quote, $10,000, and nobody had broke it. That was kind of the point, right? It's not something they do as often anymore. They used to still, I mean, there was always something with it where, like, is it the but it's Big John Studd and the body slam challenge.
Yeah, this was the tried and true form. This is the tried and true formula for WWF at the time.
But this is also why they don't do, like, you nailed it. They did 3 angles a year because this is what was on television. This was the angle. These were, if they weren't going to do some sort of personal storyline, this wonderful television is what you were getting. I mean, look, the referee's yawning in this picture, for Christ's sake. Yeah, it's not set up well.
It's just the way it was. I mean, dude.
And
I don't think people understand that now you get 3 angles a half hour.
Yeah, right.
When you
in between stuff,
when I say 3 angles a year,
yeah,
this is one of them. There's nothing else going on TV at this point. There's just squash matches and stuff going on. This is it.
The modern product. You could have it. Yeah. No. Here, this is and this is big building and I mean, you've got literally just things where you have the same managers of certain stables, and they get in the same type of boring type of quote angles. But in a modern storyline, you could have people having a discussion in the back that there's 2 storylines going on that discussion, and then a third going on in the background. You could have 3 angles in one scene now, as opposed to but. And that's and the thing is, so when I went to watch this on YouTube, so I watched the regular match and then I was trying to find other things on YouTube about it. And what I also found was they had one video had the entire build up and then the match. And it was great because listen, if you can tell the crowd hadn't seen stuff like this because of how insane they go, because the Black Demon refuses to do the Cobra Clutch. And so Vince McMahon Jr. is on commentary with Pat Patterson, and Pat's going to say, I'm going to go ask Slaughter what happened. And he goes and does an interview with Slaughter where Slaughter basically shits all over Pat Patterson in this interview. You know, he says, he's a coward like you. Black Demon back down, he's a coward like you. And then he slaps him.
Good shot. Too.
Yeah. And which that noise, if you listen to it, you get and then a roar, like the crowd explodes because they over a slap, and they lose their minds. And then I wish I could find better pictures of it, but Pat decides he is going to do the challenge, strips down to his work pants, and Sarge puts him in the Cobra Clutch in his work pants. And Vince McMahon keeps putting that over it. Pat Patterson in his work pants, in his work attire.
Yeah, Vince McMahon during all this is just bad.
Over the top. Bad. And that's the problem is with that segment and the match, it is just Vince. There is no one else with him. And it's not like the old ECW with Joey Styles running solo, or, you know, if you're a baseball fan, Vin Scully, like one of the greatest or the greatest announcer of all time, went solo most of the time because it was better. Not many people can pull off going solo in that work. You'd be like, that's why you and I are a team. I was trying to start a channel. I'd been terrified to do it by myself. I got to talk to somebody. But, you know, Vince struggled quite massively.
Oh, he was trying to figure out what voice he wanted. Like he was trying to do Cosell for a while. He would do his Howard Cosell impression. Then he would just be bonkers, over the top, excited. And
he does kind of have that. I didn't think of Cosell because he doesn't.
Oh yeah, he wanted his delivery. Side note.
You're good. No, that's what
he wanted Cosell to come on to the WWF, and Cosell told him no. He actually offered a job to Howard Cosell. Cosell told him no, and then he flipped out. Hated Howard for the rest of his life.
I mean, Cosell would have probably been a good fit for wrestling though with his.
Yeah, but he was on ABC's Wide World of Sports and stuff.
Right, and boxing when boxing was king.
Not coming over.
But I could just see this is how it goes out. That would have been.
If you listen to Vince, he does that.
He does.
Not so much in this match, but later on, there's a lot of things he's dealing with here.
No, when you said it, because I never heard it, because he doesn't do a Cosell accent, but it's the delivery. He tries to get this. You've got. Oh man, yeah. I had never put that together, but you kind of blew my mind a bit there with that. Like, shit, he's right.
No, I'm not right. I'm just. No, it's just dead on. That actually happened. I mean,
it is. No, I just mean like of the impression of it. I knew of the Cosell offer. Yeah. But So Pat stands up and then he tries to go to the corner and they start having bumps around with it, but Slaughter keeps it locked in, but you can see he's tiring out. And then that's kind of the whole crux of the situation here is, did Slaughter release it or did Pat break it? But ends up that they've unlocked and they're having a little bit of a skirmish and people are coming in, and then Slaughter hits Pat with one of those old school wooden chairs, and Pat, gigs himself and starts bleeding and really puts this whole thing over and sets it off on fire to where the crowd is, they're into it. They want to see Pat kick the crap out of Sargent Slaughter. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if what goes on between that day of April 6th to May 4th. I don't know if you saw anything during that time. All I know is it goes from that to the match, which we'll get into. But I don't know if they had to do much. I'm sure they probably did interviews. I'm sure they. Yeah. I'm sure they probably did like local interviews. Like where they would like. Yeah.
What they would do is for the marketplace, they weren't touring yet because they wanted to premiere it at Madison Square Garden. So this was a one-time deal. So they would just do it on the MSG network weekly.
Okay.
And they build it up that way. Come to Madison Square Garden on May 4th and see the no holds barred match. And they do that. They did that for about 3-4 weeks.
That's all it would be. Yeah, because it was May. Yeah. It's not even a full month. Okay, so they probably have like them in the back, each individually cutting their own promo against the other one or whatever.
Because they're not gonna tour this until they debut.
No. Yeah. And there's not that much time. I just didn't know how much they'd put, but it makes total sense if they wouldn't have them interact until then. Never mind that Pat probably didn't do a ton. I mean, because you got to set like this is back when they actually sold the things and it actually mattered. So I'm sure Pat probably wasn't on their next TV show or the next 2 TV shows to build that up until, to set it up because the crowd is hot, not only for these moments. I mean, the crowd's screaming the entire time. I mean, when Sarge hits him with the chair, you hear a lot, and people are just, when they go at each other, the crowd's hot for it. And the moment the match kicks off at Madison Square Garden, I should have grabbed the picture. I just realized it now that I didn't grab a picture of Finkel with the microphone because it's got the old school.
Yeah, it's the classic.
Yeah, that's also how you've got the full match because I found one video that kind of starts with a little bit later. Yeah, you wanted to start with Finkel with the old MSG from the ceiling mic where it's got like 3 microphones on it. And Finkel still has some hair. He's looks
good.
Right?
Looks good.
Yeah, right. It's Howard Finkel was the best, man. But he gets it set off, and then literally Pat Patterson comes out in the I Love New York t-shirt, the classic I Heart NY, a New York Yankees cap that he throws into the crowd, cowboy boots with the jeans tucked in, as babyface gets. It was great.
Yeah, there's no doubt who the babyface was in this match at all.
Nobody had any doubt. He was, if you weren't sure, if you hadn't seen the previous, because it wasn't like they were showing replays in the Garden beforehand. So if you weren't sure going into it, if you were on the fence, he came out and it was great. And
Slaughter, that's the other thing, right? When this match, we're accustomed to normally now when the main event comes up, you get the video packages of what's happening. We don't get this.
Yeah.
You're watching this and you better have been paying attention because you're not getting a recap.
Right. Exactly. They're not going to give you that. Like maybe somebody in the crowd's going to give you a little bit about it, but you're not. Yeah, exactly. So, and Pat knew that and he knew he wanted to. So he's just, if you're not sure, I'm going to come out, throw the hat into the crowd to the fans, see that. And then he also comes out with babyface fire from the instant the match with instant Slaughter gets out there.
Yeah, Pat's on the bell and they went
and
jump start.
And I feel like that if let's say you weren't like you're like, oh, he's pandering to me because I'm a New Yorker, but he starts out with, okay, I'm into this now because the entire place is into it. And
yeah, it's also one of the rare times where a babyface can actually jumpstart a match.
Right. Exactly.
He's already been beaten down by the heel a couple of times.
The last time they interacted,
like that and everything.
Yes.
The babyface is allowed to jumpstart the match.
You're damn. Oh man, I was just thinking of like, let's get the heat, let's get the crowd behind him. But damn it, you're absolutely right.
No, babyface just can't come out and jumpstart a match. He's got to have a reason to start it. So that he already had the reasons.
The last time they interacted, he hit me with a chair. I'm mad. We could all get behind that. It's literally the easiest storytelling possible, but that's how you get the crowd into it. That's what makes a difference. They're all That's awesome.
If they're watching TV, they know the story. They saw it. Obviously, we're not getting the recap, but they saw it.
Right.
And they know what's up. And if they want to see him kick his ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what he does.
And, and he starts off with the punches pretty much right from the beginning. You know, he's kicking him. He's got the cowboy boots.
All kicks with the boots. His first 5 minutes of offense are all kicks. Kicks to the knee, kicks to the chest, kick to the back, kick everywhere.
Slaughter is selling his ass off. I mean, and he's got to, obviously, because I mean, he's the one who's 6'6", so Pat's got to lay it in there, you know. And the way he's doing it, where he's hitting like those spots where we know, like, oh God, I don't care how big you are, if you kick me in the knee with the cowboy boot 2 or 3 times, I'm going down. Yeah, it's gonna happen, and so it's very believable.
This picture you got here, he took off the belt.
Yeah, I love this.
Slaughter taking a belt shot is amazingly good when he arches his back and his arms go out.
Yes,
and he's walking like that. I'm doing the impression you guys can't see it, but I'm doing it.
You feel like his skin is like ripping off, like he's because also too, this is Madison Square Garden, and you've got to sell. I mean, it's packed to the rafters, so he's got to sell it to everybody on screen and the people close up. But he's selling it to the people in the 300 section. So
yeah, you can see what's going on.
Oh yeah, and it's great. And but they go back and forth, and then eventually, Slaughter gets the upper hand. He even gets Pat's belt back and hits it. Slaughter's face. I mean, that is a heel selling face right there. Just,
I thought it was interesting that Pat Patterson actually has the offense for like
he does
90% of this match, probably.
Well, at the beginning, and then he does
very
at the
little.
Beginning,
he takes a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, but also too, it makes sense though, because he's the smaller and older man, so he's got to get it, and then
mad.
Yeah, but then once Slaughter gets back into it, you know, it doesn't take much for Slaughter to look, because he's so much bigger, and Pat sells better than just about anyone in the history of the business, just ever.
If you're wondering why Pat is no longer wearing his shirt, Slaughter ripped it off his back and choked him with it first, then threw it in the crowd.
Yes, yeah, I forgot about the choking him with. You got to choke him with your own shirt. It does make sense. I forgot. No, and my bad. And then there was, even before he rips it off, they even have the spot where they both go down with it for it. This is just a back and forth battle. They just literally, there's no daylight. You can hear, I mean, it's not like they're going to edit that in 1981. You can hear that, ow, like they beat the snot out of each other. There is no daylight, as they say. And then they both sell for each other. Yeah,
there's no,
damn well.
There was no,
like they just said, I mean, look at their faces, you know, look at their faces. Just, I love, this match is a fucking masterclass in selling. Like, this is a wrestling salesmanship right here.
And look, as you're watching it too, they look really tired and worn out because of the fight. That's what you're
yes.
After a fight, you look tired.
Yes. That's a great, I mean, and let's be real, in 1981, the world at large, like, you know, people had been in more physical fights then than they have now. Let's be real. That's just the world we live in. So, you know, and if you've ever been in a real fight, after about 2-3 minutes, if not sooner, you are gassed as like you're just beat. Like
pretty much you're done.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm 43 now. I haven't been in a real fight in a long, long time. So I got in them when I was younger, and I had more, you know, I had better lung capacity and cardio. And even then, like it's, you know, and they sell that, you know, where they both, like, that's why I grabbed the picture that I had earlier there, where they're both lying down and just taking the minute. And that's
it happens. It happens a couple times throughout the match where they're both like, gassed.
Yeah, or even
perfect.
Like, I mean, yeah, where or like Slaughter will fly to the outside and then Pat lays down inside. Like,
yeah, it's an actual. People believe it. People believe it's an actual fight. Also, this is 1981, so we don't have anything that telling us that this is not real. Not real at the time. So anyone can buy this.
How, yeah, like you said, you were 15 at the time, so you'd been watching. How often did you see blood in WWE or WWF?
Never.
And I didn't grab any pictures of it because the ones that I could see were either too blurry or in color. I didn't want to get YouTube dinged. But if you watch the match, Slaughter gigs himself so perfectly and so professionally that I only ever saw it because I also watched the Jim Cornette watch along where he points it out, and it's, you know, Slaughter kind of like has it ready, and then right before he's going to get thrown into the bell or thrown into the turnbuckle, which as George pointed out in our pre-show, Look at those turnbuckle posts, folks. These are not like light, like it's not plastic. It's not the nice. Those are straight steel. And
there's no padding like they have now. Nothing.
Yeah, and so I'm sure he didn't hit it so hard. The head probably hit it with his hand, but he made it to where when he got, I forget what was it, the catapulted into the turnbuckle, that once he came off it, the blood came out, and that's literally the best way you can do it. He gigs himself as he's going up in the catapult, and then hits it and comes off and is bleeding.
Yeah, there was no blood, blood in the.
Yeah, and so the fans, so immediately too, you could hear the fans react immediately of just, oh, wait, what? Because they never had seen that. You just wasn't part of what happened in the WWF or the WWF before that. Like, and that's why this got over so well, and that's why it's so well remembered too. I mean, there's if you just type in alley fight into YouTube, maybe it's my algorithm because I got lots of wrestling, but it came up as like the second option was this, but and then just the amount of videos that either people have made like we are right now, or just different angles of different talking about points or just different versions of the recording of it, because so many people, like, this match resonated with so many people. Because then the other big move that happens in the match towards the end is Pat Patterson comes off the top rope. This is before Jimmy Snuka, people.
Before Jimmy Snuka in WWF.
Right, excuse me. Yeah, but I meant before Jimmy Snuka in Madison Square Garden. Sorry, when I meant Jimmy Snuka, I meant like the moment, like the Mick Foley in the crowd moment kind of situation.
A couple years later, but pretty close.
Right, but just imagine they hadn't seen that yet, and that was so impactful then because of what it was. So imagine what this was, and never mind, Pat's like 44, 40. He's like my age doing this. I mean, he's in much better shape probably than I am, but just saying, like, I'm not jumping off a top rope right now because I'll probably crack or break everything in my body.
They both came off the top rope during this match. Slaughter came off too.
He did. I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah, no, you're right. And that's my own fault because, God damn it, Sargent Slaughter is one of the most underrated professional wrestlers of that era for sure. Possibly of all time. Like, he doesn't get the credit that he did. The man's a multiple time world champion. He wrestled not only in WWF, but also in the AWA. You know, like, he babyface, heel, never mind and I'm not even talking about the G.I. Joe part of it, which is amazing. You know, I mean, that's how I knew Sargent Slaughter. I mean, I was born in 1982. So just imagine the G.I. Joe world. Like, okay, little side note about Jake. Jake's mom still buys him a G.I. Joe for Christmas every freaking year because she thinks it's hilarious, because she did when I was growing up, because it was my favorite thing ever. Every year I'm like, God damn it, Mom. It's stupid, but it's how important and how big they were to me back then growing up as a kid, you know? So it's just one of those things that that's what most people remember him for, and they kind of forget how great he was as a promo, how great he was with his vignettes, how great he was in the ring.
One of the best spitters when he talked ever. Unbelievable.
And speaking of that, was able to make fun of himself. He was one of the ones who was all for DX having the windshield wipers on their masks when they were making fun of him for spitting on. Like, he gets it. The man just gets it, and he's just amazing at it. And it's just, I just feel like he doesn't get it nearly. I mean, he gets credit, and it's well deserved. He's a Hall of Famer. He deserves a lot of credit. I just feel like he deserves more.
Yeah, because you don't give credit to somebody you don't see, and people that seen him are all my age. So
that's valid. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
What happens?
It's true. No, you're right. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
We know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The real ones know. So hopefully this video kind of helped people keep their memory alive. Hopefully people will watch this and then immediately go watch. You know what? I'll even link it in the description. I'll find a couple of the videos.
Tell us who won the match, or?
Well, we're getting into it. I was getting into it now because I mean, I wish I had other pictures of that, but I couldn't find it too. That's the thing about this match. There was no referee the entire match. So it's just the two of them beating the snot out of each other until someone gives up, which, to save Slaughter, because he's the one that's still going to continue to wrestle, he doesn't give up. The Grand Wizard does and tosses he throws in the towel. Tosses the towel over the top. Well, it takes 2 times, but tosses the towel over the top rope.
I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, he just tosses it over the second time, and Pat Patterson wins, but Slaughter still looks strong, still comes up great, and because he's a heel, he can get his heat back. But then Pat looks like a hero. Also, I feel like this helps kind of kind of help solidify Pat's eyes and give him respect to the fans. It justifies when he's on color commentary, you're like, oh yeah, he's believable. His vouches for him. It kind of shows.
Yeah, he solidified his reputation. He was already
right.
Decent.
Obviously,
people knew of his work before and everything, but
yeah,
it just helps everything out perfectly.
And then Vince sells it so great at the end too, where he's like, this is this is the most grueling match in professional wrestling history. God damn it. Now the Howard Cosell thing. Oh, I'm going to hear now with Vince. That's hilarious.
That's the way it was.
No, that's it. It's dead on. No, I knew that he was a fan of it. I just didn't put it together because I didn't grow up with Vince much as the commentator. I didn't listen to it as much, but now that I hear it, like I can't unhear that.
Yeah, I unfortunately did. So
yeah. But this match is just, everybody who thinks they want to be a professional wrestler or who is and wants to know how to sell. Like this match is also a masterclass in less is more. Like this is an alley fight, but nobody's jumping off the ladder through 3 tables and a plane of glass.
There's no tables or chairs involved in this match whatsoever.
Nobody pulled out a barbed wire strap to a fucking plate of wood. There was no barbed wire 2x4 under the ring.
You have to understand one thing about WWF at this time was the most conservative wrestling organization there possibly could be. They were so conservative. They weren't going to do anything. The fact they even did this is amazing to me because it was the most conservative thing in the world.
You wonder.
They just wanted, they had their weekly towns. They had their formula set up. They were Jim Dandy the way they were. Trust me.
So you wonder.
Very
let's go. No, go.
No, very conservative. That's all.
Yeah. So, and that's Vince Sr., obviously. And we all know that Vince Jr. takes over in 1982, right? Like that's around when he takes over complete, something like that. I feel like that's what it was.
I don't know for sure.
Something around there. Like, but even so, like, if this is 81 and Vince Sr. knew he was getting sick, I would assume, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like he died suddenly. He knew it was coming. So I'm wondering how much more there would have been, like, where it's that influence of where like Vince Jr. is like, no, I want to take over. I want to be, you know what I mean? Like wants to be more involved.
It was a year later. 82.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So like, maybe it's kind of like, hey, we'll see. Like, and Vince Sr. is like, all right, we'll see if this works. He's thinking it's not going to because he's ultra conservative with his wrestling, and then it gets over like wildfire, and so then Vince Jr. gets more influence, and then Vince Sr. realizes, okay, I can sell to him and give him the.
Yeah, I'd have to check. Maybe I'll check with John McAdam and see if this might have been a Vince Jr. idea for this match. Huh?
I just said, ooh, I like the John McAdam. Yeah. Somebody I really respect is John McAdam for sure. Yeah.
I'll check. I'll pose the question and see.
Yeah, no, that's great. I like that. No, that's awesome because that's you wonder just because, like you said, with how conservative they were and how groundbreaking this is, but when you watch it, like it's groundbreaking in a conservative way, Yeah. So I feel like it takes Vince. Yeah. To me, if you just as a outside observer, it just feels like to me as maybe there at least had to be, because you don't see Vince Sr. calling this.
Knowing what I know about Vince Sr. though, I doubt it. I doubt he took any advice from anybody.
Maybe anybody but his son.
This is circle people like Monsoon, Skolin, and Zacco. That would be the only people he listened to. Okay, he wouldn't listen to his. He wouldn't listen to his son yet.
Well, but maybe
I'm going to find out for sure, but I doubt it. I doubt it.
Well, if I'm wrong, at least I hope John McAdam thinks it was a good question. That's all I hope. I have a lot of respect for him, and
I won't ask for the show. I'll ask him on his own.
I know. I was just kidding. I have a lot of respect for him and Brian Solomon as well. And hey, Brian Solomon follows me on Twitter, and like not just a BS follow. He like likes if things I post. We don't interact much, but a little bit. It always makes me feel good. I'm like, because there's people in this industry, in this world that are just, like smarter on a different level, and people that you really would, respect and want to emulate. And those are guys that I really do for sure. I was on a Spaces last night, and that's what almost everybody who came on talking about was like, it's nice to be, people that are smart and not just yelling at each other and being crazy. So I feel like our influence in the world is kind of maybe spread out a little bit. people are realizing like, oh, you can be nice on, you don't have to just yell at each other and be a douchebag on space. It's just because if we can help out and influence, I'm happy to do it. But man, that match was fun to watch. I'm really glad you picked that one. I guess I'm up next. I got my list here. I'll figure one out and I'll let you know on Spaces this Sunday. How about that? Well, little teaser for everybody.
That seems to be the place.
Yeah, it kind of works. It's a good place to go. Yeah. Which, by the way, we will be back this Sunday for Spaces at our regular time, 8:05 p.m. Eastern. As far as I know, we don't have any guests yet for this one, but we do have some things in the works. I've got something. We got a couple things in the pipeline. Maybe possibly, hopefully, some different people that have actually more involved in the business than have been before. We'll tease it at that. Although I guess not with Kevin involved, but maybe some people that might have possibly worked for Kevin actually. So we'll see. But yeah, that was the alley fight between Pat Patterson and Sargent Slaughter from May the 4th, 1981.
50. Oh, easy.
No, I was looking at the right. I said I was looking at the 5. I'm dyslexic. 1981. Hey, I didn't finish the word. 1980. Hey, it's before my time. I loved it though. I'm glad we watched it. That was fun. But yeah, if you want to go back and watch it, I highly recommend watching the one that actually has the Cobra Clutch challenge before, because it's still only like a 21-minute video, because this match isn't that long. It's 14 minutes and 13 seconds. So, but yeah, anything else you wanted to add, George? Any other?
No, everything
awesome.
Worked out perfectly. I love this
one.
This was a good one.
Cool. Well, and also too, with everybody that we appreciate you guys watching, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. If there's a match that you want us to watch, please leave it in the comments. We've already done that once. We'll definitely do it again. We'll take suggestions. If there's things you like, things you don't like, and like I said, I'll put in the links. I'll put the link to the good video that I found for this one in the description for this one. And we will catch you next time. Thanks, everybody. Peace.